Hello everyone, this is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net, and welcome to the Encyclomedia show. Let us continue with the Walt Disney Treasure Series. We are on wave 7 right now, and this is arguably one of the most important waves because we got something that we really definitely needed to complete our Disney collection. And we got another set that was also important. Then we got a third set that was good, but it had a strange air on it, in my opinion. And I don't know why they did what they did with it, and I'll explain in a minute. But anyway, let's talk about that really oh so important release. Disney even acknowledged it so much that it was in a gold tinted cover. And it's Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Well, actually, it's called The Adventures of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Now, some of you might not know who Oswald is, even though I think more people have been seeing him in the theme parks. Oswald the Lucky Rabbit was Walt Disney's creation before Mickey Mouse. And he did the cartoons for Universal, and they were relatively well received. But when it came time to make a new set of shorts, Disney went to Charles Mintz and asked for a higher budget, and Mintz told Walt that he owned the copyright to the character, and by the way, I've also re-signed all of your animators. And Walt Disney pretty much rode the train ride home, probably feeling pretty low, having lost his creation, and on the way home doodled Mickey Mouse and went to create the Steamboat Willie Plane Crazy with Ub Iwerks, who was the only animator that didn't sign with Mintz. And fun fact, Charles Muntz in Pixar's movie Up was named after Mintz. But Disney had always wanted to bring Oswald back home. And there's a making of story on how that occurred, but basically there was a sports announcer that ABC had, or ESPN, one of the Disney networks, that another company wanted. I think it was NBC Universal, and Disney said, hey, we'll release him from his contract if you give us the rights to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And Universal was like, okay, whatever. We don't need those rights. And now Oswald is back with Disney, and he's like been in like a couple video games and stuff. I don't know if Disney's really doing anything with him right now. I think it was more of a personal gain for the company. But we also got the remaining Oswald shorts that survived. Some of them didn't survive because Universal was not as good at preserving their history as Disney was. So let's look at this set. How many copies they made. Now, as you probably guessed, the case is also gold on the inside. And if you heard this little noise, it's because each set came with this pin. This Oswald the Lucky Rabbit pin. And it's still sealed. I don't know if you can tell. I never took it out because I had no reason to open it. But each one comes with that. And, what do you know? The booklet's gold too. This one really stands out. Now, as a result of the Oswald cartoons, Disney figured they would be of particular interest to the general public, they made 120,000 of these sets. So I actually still see one of these sets once in a while in a store. And I have number 42,624. Now, again, because Universal was not as good at preserving their history, there really is not a lot of vintage Oswald posters or anything. So we just have concept art for the lithograph. And the trivia is Oswald was the first Disney character licensed to merchandisers. The floppy-eared rabbit appeared on candy bars, a stencil set, and a pin back button. Oh, I guess that explains this. These images are a sampling of the only existing pencil drawings of Sagebrush Sadie, one of the missing Oswald cartoons. Sagebrush Sadie was first released April 2nd, 1928. So not only is this the only artwork that survived, but it survived from a short that we don't know if it exists anymore, which is a shame. Unfortunately, one of the sad things about old Hollywood stuff, and I figured this out when writing some of my early Oscar books about the first couple Academy Awards. Some movies we don't know of any copies that exist, and they've probably been lost over time because they were stored improperly. And I have to say, it's very frustrating to be writing an Academy Awards book, and in a spot where there's supposed to be a movie review for a movie, I have to put missing film, like it doesn't exist anymore. Describe this is what it was about, but I can't personally review it. So, as you can see, you have a picture of Oswald, which none of these cartoons are in color, and we have a sketch of Oswald. Now, here's the thing: the Oswald shorts are a little redundant. I'm not gonna lie. It's interesting to see where Disney got started, but they're really not that interesting. So you would probably think that the only reason I would recommend this DVD is to own the whole set and for the novelty factor of the collection. But you would actually be wrong, because there is a very, very good special feature on here that is worth the price of admission alone. And that is the Ub Iwerk story, where his great-granddaughter made a movie about his life and his history, which included the creation of Oswald, some of the Mickey Mouse stuff, and some of his work at Disney, and some of the stuff he did for Disney that he did after he left Disney. And did you know that Ub Iwerks actually figured out some of the special effects for Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds? Seriously. The movie is almost 2 hours long. It's a special feature, I believe, on disc 2. I think it's way more interesting than any of the cartoons. Not that that's the cartoons' fault, they're a product of their time. But that makes the DVD worth getting. Now then, we also have Complete Donald Duck Volume 2. And we love Donald cartoons. Everyone loves Donald cartoons. Probably because Donald Duck was like one of the only characters that could actually get mad and upset and no one would care. Let's see here. There's no special trinket. And Disney, I think, likes Donald a little bit more because this set got 125,000 units pressed. I got 56,362. So, and we're packed to proper lithographs. The trivia on this is, while Donald Duck's fiery temper is well known, his full name isn't. It was finally revealed in an early 1940 short, Donald Fauntleroy Duck. I have no idea if I pronounced that correctly, but there you have it. And we've got a couple of stock pictures on the discs, but as usual, most of these cartoons are definitely worth watching, and we have more Donald Duck sets to look forward to. I think they would more or less just replace the the Mickey Mouse shorts. Oh, I also saved this. Go fig. I actually had some foresight on a couple of these. Now, this last one is, of course, the odd one. Now, you know how I said that for the longest time, they kind of felt like each wave had to have a Mickey Mouse or Walt Disney set. I think the Oswald more or less substituted for Mickey Mouse, but they did another Disneyland set. Disneyland Secret Stories and Magic. And this is, of course, this is an interesting one. This is a ooh, yeah, I forgot that's one of the cooler. Can't wait to show you that one. Before I show you any of the stuff in here, though, quick reminder. So, yeah, what this is this does have a lot of Disneyland episodes on it, as you can see. But the main feature is the Disneyland Secret Stories and Magic. And that is at the time, it was a new documentary where they looked at the history of the park. They talked about the success. Some people like John Lasseter points out how he used to work at Disneyland, and he shares some of his stories, and they share some of the secrets. And it kind of teeters between being a popular piece and being for hardcore fans, because it definitely feels very promotional in some ways. And since it's modern, we can't claim this is a historical thing. What's strange about this movie is that it's letterboxed in the worst way. It's a non-anamorphic release. All the new footage is shot in widescreen, and granted, they show an occasional clip from the old stuff, which is a 1.33, so that would fill out here. But the rest of the stuff is new. I'd say 85% of the movie is in this wide box litter box format. But the disc is not anamorphic, which means instead of the image filling up the whole widescreen image, there'd be like this. Let me see if I can do this right. There'd be this little, yeah. There. Okay, yeah. See where that is? Imagine watching the whole movie with the image like that. I don't know why they did that. I do not know why they did that. I just don't. And it's it's frustrating. Like every time I watch it, which I think I've watched it 3 times. I always use the zoom feature on my TV because it's like that's just annoying. I don't mind letterboxing, I never have. But when it's that bad, I mean, come on. There was no reason for it to do that. This had a run of 50,000 copies. I have 35,797. This is the lithograph, with the trivia being the design of Sleeping Beauty Castle was inspired by several medieval-style European palaces, most notably Neuschwanstein Castle, built by Mad King Ludwig II of Bavaria. This image is Imagineering legend Herb Ryan's original 1954 concept illustration of Sleeping Beauty Castle for Disneyland Park. Now, that's not the cool thing I want to show you. This is the cool thing I want to show you. They recreated the tickets. I'm sorry, this is just so cool. I mean, the funny thing is they look so real. Now, really, the only way you know they aren't real is that on the back, I want to be careful, they have for souvenir purposes only. And oh my gosh, they even tell you where the rides are. It's amazing. And these are replicas of what tickets you'd usually use to go on rides at Disneyland, because you used to pay like a very, very small amount of money to get into Disneyland. Like it was really cheap. Like if it was today's money, it would probably be like $5 to enter Disneyland. But you'd buy tickets to get onto the rides. And so you'd have like the A rides, which would be like the carousel stuff. They'd have like the E ride, which would be like the Matterhorn. You saw A tickets on the ground all the time. You never saw an E ticket on the ground. And so if ever you hear an older person like getting off a ride and saying that was an E ticket ride, that meant that it was the most expensive ticket, and that meant it was a really good ride. And holy cow, they even tell you like the E ticket. Here were E ticket rides. Sorry, gotta scratch my nose. The SF&D railroad trains, the TWA rocket to the moon, submarine voyage, monorail, SF&D railroad trains, Matterhorn bobsleds, Rainbow Ridge pack mules, Rainbow Mount stagecoaches, Mark Twain steamboat, sailing ship Columbia, Tom Sawyer Island rafts. That should not be an e-ticket ride. And the Jungle Cruise. Like what was a D ride? A D ride was like Astrojet, Tomorrowland, Autotopia, Peter Pan's Flight, Snow White's Adventure. The A rides were Main Street horse cards, horseless carriages, omnibus series, fire engines, Main Street Cinema. Oh wow, that's cinema. That's plays all the old Mickey Mouse cartoons. They used to ask for an A ticket for that. King Arthur Carousel. Yeah. So I'm very hesitant to like open this booklet because, like the real thing, there's also little bumps which they were meant to like fold and easily tear out. I do not want to do that at all. But this was a cool extra to include in the set, and also that's the thing that's going to cost you the most money when it comes time to buying these sets. Now then, what are these things going to set you back? Well, this is a $20 to $50 DVD, brand new. If it's used, you might want to make sure it has the pin. I don't think it's that important. If it does have the pin, that might raise it by $15. If it's new, it obviously has the pin. So I think $50 is the most you're going to pay for this. This goes for about $100 used, $200 brand new. This is where you're going to get thrown for a loop. If it's used, it can go as low as $15. However, if it has the tickets in there, that raises it by like $80. And if it's brand new, it's like $150. So this is ultimately like, it will cost you between $150 to $400, depending on whether you get the extras and whether or not they're used or brand new. I don't know. So my overall impression of the 7th thing was this was historical. This was probably the most historical of the sets that they released. Aside from Wave 3 or 2, whichever one had the wartime cartoons. But you know. And the gold tinting was a very, very nice touch. So obviously you put it before the Mickey Mouse cartoons. And that was wave 7. We'll talk about wave 8 soon. There might be a delay for that one because that is another one that has a set on there that it dawned on me. I never really watched it, so I should probably watch some of it and figure out what it's like before I comment on it. But, you know, yeah, there you go. So what do you folks think? Do you have any of these? Do you have all the extras? I'd like to know which one's your favorite. I'd like to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.